eye.
Which one?
You know damn well which one.
Thanks for doing this. It really means a whole lot.
Do you have an imaginary friend? Because if so, you're in the right place, because today I'll be reviewing If, the new film from John Krasinski. Before we get into the review though, make sure you leave a like, subscribe to the channel, we're on the road to 700 subscribers. It's free to do so and it helps me out a lot. And I'm going to read you guys a quick plot synopsis just so you know what the movie is about. After discovering she can see everyone's imaginary friends, a girl embarks on a magical adventure to reconnect forgotten ifs with their kids. As I said in the intro, this film is directed by John Krasinski. You all know him, you all love him from The Office as Jim Halpert, but it's so interesting to see him, do such a big 180 in his directing career for movies, because the first two movies he directed were the first two Quiet Place movies. I remember seeing the first Quiet Place in theaters, and it was such a weird movie to see in theaters because it was kind of like a one of a kind in its, this main modern period that we're in right now, because it was like almost a true silent movie and everyone was worried about eating their popcorn and all that. It's a great movie though. It was a big surprise to see how well directed that movie was, how great that movie was. And the second one was also great. They're both movies that I love. It's going to be awesome to see how they continue that franchise. But now he's doing a kids movie, which he made for his kids. He got the idea from his kids, heard him say that on the talk shows and all that. And, I love that he's making movies for his kids. I love that he's making, more different genre movies. Hopefully he does another horror movie because he's so good at it. But I wouldn't mind if he did another kids movie after this. I wouldn't mind if he did another If kind of movie. It's a really great story here. I think this is one of the biggest surprises of the year so far. If you can't tell already, I really enjoyed this a lot. And he also has a small role in this. But his direction here is amazing, and he just invites you into this world kind of flawlessly, and invites you into these characters, invites you into the loving, the storyline, the premise that he goes for. But I feel like the story, my worst part about this movie is that the story lacks a little bit of depth, and I wanted more of these imaginary characters, including the supporting ones, because I feel like some of them were, kind of left out for a little bit, and some of the story was left on the cutting floor that should have been left in the movie. So that's kind of all like the negative stuff I have to say, but it's not too big of negative stuff, because as I said, I really do think this movie's great. It is kind of basically a kids movie, but that doesn't mean it's only for kids. I mean, some movies this year have felt like they're only to be enjoyed by kids. Kung Fu Panda 4 felt like just a nothing movie that no adults can enjoy. But as someone who really feels like kids movies are a little too childish sometimes, this one really does. I think this one really does have an impact on adults, and it will have a big impact on young adults in a big way, including me. It had a big impact on me while I was watching this, because I don't really agree with the point that some people say that you can only enjoy a kids movie if you are a kid, or if you're watching it with a kid, because these kinds of movies bring you back to your childhood and those memories that you need to bring back warmth and happiness to your heart after experiencing pain and sorrow while growing up and transitioning to being an adult, because being adult is hard, and we all know it. A lot of people just work 9 to 5s, have no happiness in their lives, just working all the rest of their lives. So you need kids movies sometimes in your life to just bring back the childhood in your life, bring back the warmth that you need in your life. Those are special movies, and if you say that you don't watch kids movies anymore because they're too kiddie, then I just gotta disagree. Those movies just have a special place in my heart, and they will always have a special place in my heart, even if I never have kids, because they're just so enjoyable, and they're filled with so much heart, and the people that make them put so much heart and put so much of their soul into them. So I feel like that one critique that some people make up kids movies is so stupid. I never listen to people that say that. And this movie is kind of a heartfelt movie that we need right now. There's a lot of bad stuff going on in the world right now. And you don't have a lot of heartfelt movies coming out this year. A lot of kids movies coming out this year are pretty much the same. Oh, it's the same story over again, like Kung Fu Panda 4, Garfield, but this is a very different movie, kind of original movie, a movie that you don't have to bring your critical goggles to when you're watching it. It's a harmless movie that you can tell has a lot of love put into it. I do want to talk about the score and the soundtrack here, because it features a great soundtrack that I think many adults will adore and appreciate, because it has a decent amount of older songs. It features the song LOVE by Nat King Cole. That song is one of my favorite songs. I haven't heard it in a long time, but it played in here and I was like, oh my goodness, I remember hearing that, a while back, because I hadn't listened to that in just so long. But it's a beautiful song, and it's played in a beautiful moment in this film. it just that when that scene played, when that song played in that certain scene, I just had a smile on my face the whole time. It was such a great scene. And it, one of the greatest composers right now did this movie. Michael Giacchino, he was known for many movies, Marvel and Pixar mainly. I really loved what he did here, and the main theme is really sweet, and it also puts a smile on your face. Let's talk about the main storyline of this movie, which are the ifs, and they're called imaginary friends. There are a lot of imaginary friends in this movie. So many famous cast members, got to voice these characters, and I won't go into all of them because that would be a long review if I did. You can go look down the rabbit hole if you want, but I will give you some of my favorites. Blue is played by Steve Carell, and I always wondered why his name was Blue, because he's literally a purple monster, kind of like a purple big guy. This guy's huge too. I don't know how he fits through all those doorways, but he's called Blue because his kid that dreamed of him, kind of his kid that thought of him and looked at him through the imaginary kid friend lens, was colorblind, so that's why his name is Blue. And he was a funny mess in the movie. As I said, he was always doing something wrong, but he's a sweet monster, sweet big monster. But the funny thing is, anytime his character laughed, I just thought of Michael Scott, because he's voiced by Steve Carell, who played the famous Michael Scott in The Office. That's all you hear. I was waiting for him to say that. That's what she said joke. I was waiting for him to say it, but he didn't say it. Phoebe Waller-Bridge plays Blossom. I thought she did a great job here. Phoebe Waller-Bridge, I didn't really love her in the last Indiana Jones movie. I thought that was one of the worst parts about that movie. But she had a really interesting character design. She has like Pac-Man for eyes, which was a cool visual, and she's also a very sweet character. I will say all of the ifs are pretty sweet. I like what John Krasinski did here. He made all the ifs, sweet characters, because your imaginary friend shouldn't be a mean character, so why would there be any mean ifs in here? So they're all pretty nice. And one of my favorite characters from the trailer, the marshmallow, if you remember from the trailer, at the end of the trailer, his eye falls out and they're like, don't look into his eye. And this character, I was like, who is voicing this character while watching? Then after I saw that John Krasinski actually voiced this character, I wouldn't have known. I really wouldn't have known. I was trying to place it, but I could not place it. I just found out about it after watching the movie. I thought that character was funny. I wish we got to see more of him. And one of my other favorites is Ice Cube, played by Bradley Cooper, known for voicing Rocket the Raccoon. He once again does a great voice here. He needs to do more voice acting, because I love him in anything that he's voicing. So those are my favorite ifs. There's so many other ones to love. The character designs here for the ifs were all off the charts. I love the designs for every single one of them. And let's talk about the other main cast. We got Ryan Reynolds. This is such a different role for him, considering that in 2 months he'll be back as the legendary character Deadpool in Deadpool Wolverine, as probably the most R-rated movie of the year. So it's kind of funny that he's going from a pretty childish movie with If, and then going to a pretty adult movie with Deadpool and Wolverine. I don't want to spoil too much about his character, because there is some spoilers that I think that you guys should go into finding out. But I liked him a lot, and I loved when he kept tripping over Keith. Keith is basically another If, but an invisible If. So he just trips over him like a couple times in the movie, and it's a very funny moment. I love that a lot, because Keith is literally, he's just, I don't know what he's doing. He's just laying down, and just Ryan Reynolds just trips over him all the time. It's really fun. There's a lot of funny moments here that I really enjoyed. A lot of heartfelt moments, but yeah, there's some very funny moments with the ifs. Kaylee Fleming is basically the main star of this movie. She's known for playing Judith Grimes in The Walking Dead, which I still need to go back and finish. I never finished The Walking Dead. It's a hard show to finish, because some of those episodes are very hard to get through, but I loved her here, and I loved what her character goes through. She starts off this kind of movie by saying she isn't a kid anymore, and she just goes on a very big journey after that. And truthfully, we all kind of feel that way at some point. We don't like being called a kid. We like to say we're not a kid anymore, because we want to be adult. We want to do all these adult things, like go out and drink, go and have fun, bet money on gambling. Some people do, but deep down, we are still kids when we are, with other people that we love or doing the things that we love. We're still kids. And, I love her journey on finding that out. And give Kaylee, more movies after this, more movie roles after this, because she was just a burst of charisma and charm. And I really did love her character, and I loved her performance here. She was just, she was bouncing off the charts with charm. Let's just say that. And the pace of this movie, I wanted more. I will say, it felt a little too fast for me at sometimes. I felt like that's what its biggest trouble was, that there wasn't enough depth in some of these supporting imaginary friends, because the few scenes that they had weren't enough, and I wanted more for them. So I wouldn't have minded, 15 more minutes added on to this movie. But overall, if it is a heartfelt and harmless movie that I think we needed it in the world right now with a lot of, bad things happening all the time. It brings you back to your childhood of joy and no worries in the world. As you start being an adult, you have so many different responsibilities, so many worries. You just need a movie to kind of relax you, a movie to take you back to those childhood memories. This movie did that for me, and I think it will do that for a lot of adults, a lot of young adults. And it's just one of those movies that put a smile on my face, and I think it is, the biggest surprise of the year so far. I really enjoyed it, and I'm so excited to go watch it again. I'm watching it again tomorrow. It's a film that I think a lot of people need to see. Hopefully they do, because it's worth going to the theater and see this one. So I'm gonna give it a strong 8 out of 10. I really enjoyed it. As I said, I had a smile on my face the whole time. I think a lot of other people will. It has a great soundtrack, great score, and I love the designs of each If. There's just so much to look at here. So yeah, if you did see If, let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. If you did enjoy my review though, make sure to leave a like, subscribe to the channel. It's free to do so. We're on the road to 700 subscribers. But I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.